Mangwanani Mwalelepo Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the show that keeps you abreast with the latest happenings across the continent. My name is Aina Raizakoya, alongside the beautiful, gorgeous, the everything Diana Master.
It's the everything.
Are you not everything?
I am everything and more, actually.
You know,
and I'm glad that you know that. And I'm glad that you're spreading the word. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's quarter to Friday.
It's quarter to Friday.
I am excited for
We're
the
low-key
weekend.
matching. We have the black and the cream going on today. I love
we
that.
We are in sync.
I love the synchronicity.
Yep. That word. Everything you said.
Retweet.
Retweet.
Okay, let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Iran makes arrests after 5,000 pupils mysteriously poisoned at schools. I am more than confident we're going to resolve load shedding, and this is according to Ramokgopa. Kenya to expand use of world's first malaria vaccine. We're also going to be crossing on over to Zimbabwe to speak to Talent Korea to give us the latest news on the ground. Stick around, because after the break we get into our top stories.
Chill Sessions is an entertainment show that brings you the latest hit, fashion and entertainment news. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact chill@synergy.com.na. Chill Sessions, bringing art and entertainment to the people.
In our top stories this morning, Iran makes arrest after 5,000 learners mysteriously poisoned at school. Iran announced on Tuesday it had made the first arrest in spate of mystery poisonings of schoolgirls that have affected more than 5,000 learners since late November. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had called Monday for the perpetrators of the unforgivable crime to be tracked down without mercy as public anger mounts. Based on the intelligence and research measures of the intelligence agency, a number of people have been arrested in 5 provinces, and the relevant agencies are conducting a full investigation. Deputy Interior Minister Majid Miradi told state television. He did not identify those detained or elaborate on any possible motives. Scores of Iranian schools have been hit by poisoning since late November, with learners suffering symptoms ranging from shortness of breath and vertigo after reporting unpleasant smells on the school premises. Some have been treated at the hospital. 25 out of 31 provinces have approximately 230 schools have been affected, and more than 5,000 schoolgirls and boys are poisoned.
Now getting into our next story, in South Africa, I am more than confident we're going to resolve load shedding, and this is according to Ramokgopa. Newly appointed Minister of Electricity, Dr. Kosientsho Ramokgopa, said he's ready to serve South Africa and begun his work to help Eskom resolve load shedding. Ramokgopa was officially sworn in as Electricity Minister on Tuesday night after being appointed to the portfolio during a cabinet reshuffle by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The new minister has a mammoth task to address the current load shedding crisis, which has seen the deliberate power cuts spike to unprecedented stages in recent months. Speaking after his swearing-in ceremony, Ramokgopa said he will not be introducing a new energy action plan. Like the president said when he was introducing the minister last night, we are not introducing a new plan. There's existing energy action plan in the country, so all I'm assigned to do is the delivery of the energy action plan within the timeframes that we've committed ourselves to. One of the major difficulties in the management of the crisis is that we fail to communicate sufficiently to the general public. But I want to say that I am more than confident that we're going to resolve load shedding. Eskom acting spokesperson Daphne Mokoena said it will not be issuing a media statement yet on the appointment of the new electricity minister. However, we welcome the appointment and are looking forward to immediately start working with the new minister in ensuring that we address load shedding, she said.
Now in our next story, Kenya to expand the use of the world's first malaria vaccine. Kenya will expand the use of the world's first malaria vaccine in the country. At the center of the Kamahoe dispensary, Hamisi sub-county in western Kenya, mothers bring their children to receive the jab. Kenya is one of the 3 countries, along with Ghana and Malawi, where the RTS malaria vaccine is already in use. The Director General of the Health details the vaccination campaign. We have so far vaccinated close to 400,000 children, Patrick Amoth said. In Vika County alone, at least 25,000 children have been vaccinated against malaria. With these areas, there has been a substantial reduction in deadly severe malaria, a drop in child hospitalization, and a reduction in the death. Isabel Osido says vaccination has changed everything for her daughter Faith. Malaria is an acute fatal illness caused by parasites which are spread to people through the bites of infected mosquitoes.
Coming back to South Africa is the favored tertiary education destination for sub-Saharan Africans, and this is according to a study. South African universities are favored by those in sub-Saharan Africa who want to study on the continent, while those seeking education overseas opt for France ahead of the United States and the United Kingdom. Recent research by Campus France shows. The report also adds that more students from Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe opt for education outside their countries. According to the report, the main driving force for sub-Saharan African students is the lack of capacity in their home countries' higher education systems. Students from sub-Saharan Africa are particularly mobile. 4.8% of them study abroad, compared to 2.7% on average worldwide. Sub-Saharan students abroad represent nearly 7% of all degree-seeking students abroad, while they constitute only 3.7% of all students in the world. The youngest population in the world is found in Africa. Around 40% of the population was under the age of 15 as of 2022, compared to a global average of 25%, World Bank figures show. If this trend continues in years to come, Africa will have the biggest pool of students seeking tertiary education that would translate to more African students studying abroad, the report goes on to say.
In our next story, South African taxman says president's stolen dollars are undeclared. Tax authorities said on Monday they found no record on $500,000 stolen from South Africa's president being declared at customs, rekindling a scandal threatening Cyril Ramaphosa. The $580,000 he said was payment of the 20 buffaloes bought by a Sudanese businessman 3 years ago, is at a center of allegation that almost cost Ramaphosa his job and endangered his chances of securing a second term after next year's election. The businessman Hazim Mustafa confirmed he paid cash for animals in interviews with British media. But the South African Revenue Services said in a statement, after an extensive research, record of the money having been declared at custom as legally required could not be found or may not be in existence. The statement did not name Mustafa directly, referring instead to a certain traveler. It was issued in response to an information request filed by the largest opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, seeking to establish whether the Sudanese businessman had declared the sum upon entering South Africa. The revelation adds to questions surrounding the 2020 cash theft from Ramaphosa's luxury farmhouse.
And now bringing us to the end of our top stories, Uganda briefly closes main expressway after bomb scare. Uganda's police on Wednesday briefly closed a busy expressway that connects the capital Kampala to the country's main airport after a security scare. A bomb squad was deployed to conduct an investigation along the Entebbe expressway before it was cleared for public use, according to tweets by police. Motorists were diverted to the old road that runs near the expressway until investigations ended and normal traffic flow restored. We would like to applaud our bomb squad and crisis intervention teams. The suspicious object was removed and the highway reopened, police said. The Chinese-funded expressway was opened in 2018 and is the first ever toll road in the country.
After the break, we return with Talent Gore, who brings us news from the House of Stone. Stay with us.
My.NA Property Show provides viewers with the best in-class content, engaging interviews, as well as a showcase of the latest property-related products and services. If you would like to feature your brand or your campaign on this platform, contact My.NA at synergy.com.na. My.NA Properties, more than just a roof over your head.
Now, 9 years ago, when it was revealed that Ramokgopa was getting married, she basically broke the internet. And now, fast forward 9 years later, she is filing for divorce. Here to give us more on the story, Talent Kore. Good morning, Talent. Please tell us what happened.
Good morning, Aina. Good morning, Diana. So apparently, Ramokgopa, the late former President Robert Mugabe's daughter, has filed for divorce against her husband after 9 years of marriage. Apparently, Bona has said that the marriage had irretrievably broken down and there was no reasonable prospect of the restoration of a normal marriage relationship between them. The divorce summons were filed on Tuesday at the Harare High Court, and Bona said in the court papers, Bona said that her and her husband Simba Chikori had been living apart for the past 9 months, so there was no need for them to actually get back together, and she was filing for divorce. She's also demanding for 8,100 United States dollars from her estranged husband for the upkeep of her children. So the court papers were submitted at the High Court, and this is the latest on the case of Ramokgopa and the estranged husband, Simbarashi Chikori.
All right, now Talent, in your next story, we understand that poaching is threatening Zimbabwe's tourism industry. Tell us about this.
Yes, well, this was revealed during a workshop last week, whereby those in the wildlife indicate that poaching and illegal wildlife trade is in Zimbabwe's tourism industry. During last week's Wildlife Day commemorations, which went under the theme Partnership for Wildlife Conservation, stakeholders from government said that the country had experienced massive economic loss due to illegal wildlife trade. So the stakeholders and the government also warned poachers, saying that they were ready to deal with them as they had high-end technology equipment and resources which will enable them to catch the poachers in wildlife parks. And they say that they're going to be dealing with the poachers once they are caught. They say that poachers will be sent to prison and they will be dealt with. So they say that the tourism industry was being damaged by the poachers, and the government was ready to deal with the poachers.
All right, now in some more concerning news, the Ministry of Health and Childcare has expressed concern over a spike in malaria infections and deaths. Could you please give us the statistics?
Yes, the Ministry of Health and Childcare has expressed over a spike in malaria infections and deaths. On Monday, the ministry's weekly disease surveillance report indicated that 39 people have succumbed to malaria following an outbreak which has affected 17,620 people to date since last year. The ministry said that the causes of death are mainly late presentation of the disease at the hospital. The ministry also said that patients are being brought in when they have complications like renal failure, jaundice, and are pale or in a coma. So it was hard for the ministry to deal with the malaria cases. But however, the ministry also said that it has been distributing treated mosquito nets in both low and high transmission areas, and there was also an indoor residue spraying exercise in 25 districts which are mainly malaria prone, which are high in malaria. So they say, the ministry say that they are distributing mosquito nets, and they are also spraying to ensure that people do not succumb to malaria.
All right, Talent, thank you very much for bringing us the news from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always a pleasure having talent on Africa Good Morning. Now we're hoping for an Africa Good Day, and in order to do that, we need to have great weather. Let's take a look at the weather predictions.
In our economic news this morning, Tanzania reveals new strategy to promote horticulture. Finally, the government has said it will act decisively on the abandoned horticulture estate in Arusha in its new bid to boost the multi-million-dollar industry, according to the Bank of Tanzania. The country has earned $289.6 million from horticulture exports last year. This was, however, a drop from $378.6 million that was exported in 2021. And yesterday, the government said 2 of the commercial farms will be retaken by the state, while the other 5 will have to wait as they have been pending cases in court. The state will ensure that terminal benefits amounting to billions of shillings of hundreds of workers are forced into redundancy is paid.
Now, Khartoum's yellow taxis stand idle as technology trumps tradition. The yellow taxis of Khartoum were once an enduring part of its colonial legacy. Now, the vehicles introduced in Sudan's capital under British rule in 1937 and last renewed as a fleet in 1978 bear the signs of numerous repairs, their paintwork chipped, and their often elderly drivers wait in vain for customers. They say they've been left behind by competitors who advertise using unregulated ride-hailing apps and who drive newer cars. We've raised generations of children off the back of this taxi, but our taxis are old now. Driver Al-Rashid Ahmed, who has had his since 1980, told Reuters at one city cab rank with around 24 vehicles. And now these app drivers have appeared and they just stick on a taxi sign that belongs to us and they're exploiting it, he added, gesturing towards a row of newer cars across the street. The drivers' struggles mirror Sudan's wider economic decline, they say, with the government unable to finance new cars as fuel costs soar.
Let's have a look at our economic indicators.
Now let's talk sports news with Ari Hochad.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with soccer news. It is a UEFA Champions League that continued. It was second round games and it is a good result for Chelsea. Chelsea through to the quarterfinals. In the round of 16 they beat Borussia Dortmund, that was at home. They beat them by 2-0. On aggregate they won 2-1. That was after Borussia Dortmund won the first round that was played in Germany. Also, it was Benfica that also played against Club Brugge, and that was played in Lisbon at home. A big result for Benfica, also easy victory for them. Benfica beat Club Brugge by 5-1, and on aggregate it is 7-1. So Club Brugge also through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And continuing with cycling news, it's the Paris-Nice cycle tour that continues. Stage 3 that was concluded, a team time trial over 32.2 kilometers. And the winners of that team time trial was Team Jumbo Visma. And in second position, EF Education Easy Post. And because of the second position of EF Education Easy Post, it is Magnus Kurt Nielsen that is now the yellow jersey holder. Still very tight at the top, just a few seconds between all of the riders. And he's got a combined time of 7 hours, 53 minutes and 41 seconds. He's just 1 second ahead of Nathan van Hooijdonk. He's from the Jumbo Visma team. He's in the second position at the moment. Stage 4 will be 165 kilometers. And continuing international sports news with golf news, it is on the African continent. It is the Kenya Open, the magical Kenya Golf Open that will take place this week, and it will finish on Sunday, starting on Thursday. It is part of the DP World Tour. Rich in tradition, also the Kenya Open, Golf Open. The first tournament was hosted in 1967, and that was at the Mataiga Golf Club in Nairobi, where it's going to be held this weekend as well. Significantly, 1978, it was Seve Ballesteros, a well-known player from Spain, became the world number 1. He won the 1978 Kenya Open, and then in 2000, it was also a major winner from South Africa, Trevor Immelman, that was victorious in the Kenya Open. So lots of history in the tournament, and it will start on Thursday, finishing with the 4th round on Sunday, being played in Nairobi. Then also on the PGA Tour, it is the Players' Championship that's happening in America. It's also a men's tournament, and they call it the unofficial 5th major. So all the top-ranked players in the world playing in the tournament. Unfortunately, the players playing in the Live Golf League will not be playing in the Players' Championship this year. One of the strong 3 balls that's teeing off in the first round on Thursday will be Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm. They're number 1, 2 and 3 in the world, Jon Rahm being the number 1 player in the world at the moment. So they're playing together for the first 2 rounds. Sadly, the defending champion is Cameron Smith. Sadly, I'm saying, because he's not playing in the tournament, because he's with the Live Golf League, and that's a breakaway league, so they're not playing in the tournament. Ironically, Cameron Smith actually lives on the golf course, and he will be at the tournament, so he said that he might go and watch the tournament as a part of the crowd. So that is quite sad. Hopefully, World Golf can figure this out. Cameron Smith, currently number 4 in the world, defending champion, and not playing in the Players' Championship. So hopefully officials can sort out this whole thing between PGA, DP World Tour and Live Golf. Closing off with tennis news, and good news for the WTA. That's a women's tennis organization, and they confirmed that they have an equity partner in CVC Capital. They're going to invest $150 million into the WTA Tour, and that is for a 20% stake, and they will call it now the WTA Ventures. Also, CVC Capital, they associated with Formula 1 racing and also with Six Nations Rugby. So that's the international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Namibia's hospitality is as vibrant as its people. Join the What's Cooking team as they travel the country cooking, chatting, and celebrating local personalities and the joy of food. If you think you have a standout offering, whether it's a restaurant, bar, pop-up event, or braai stand, get in touch with the What's Cooking team at cooking@synergy.com.na, and we will be there to show the world what's cooking. Programs air every Friday at 4 p.m. on all the NMH Facebook platforms, as well as on NTV, DSTV channel 285, and GoTV channel 94 at 9 p.m.
Tourismus Namibia is a weekly tourism show that brings you the latest news in the tourism industry and topics related to that. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact tourismus@synergy.com.na for news and advertising related queries. Tourismus, bring the world to Namibia.
You're watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast. Iran makes arrests after 5,000 pupils mysteriously poisoned at schools. I am more than confident we're going to resolve load shedding. This is according to Ramokgopa. Kenya to expand use of world's first malaria vaccine. Tanzania reveals new strategy to promote horticulture.
Those have been our stories. We thank you very much for joining us this morning. Please do remember we welcome your remarks regarding our show. You can post them on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Africa Good Morning, a place on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 94. And on that note, it's all our love, all our light, and a happy Thursday.